Hey folks, this video is the second part of a two-part story by Ross Tyson, also known as Googly Eyes 93. He's got a book coming out soon called When Reality Tears. It's available now for pre-order, so make sure you go support him. Links will be below. Well, I'm quickly coming to terms with my mortality. I don't know what's going to happen up here, but I know that I don't have much time left. None of us may. He woke up 6 hours ago. First time he's been awake the entire damn time we've been up here. I still don't know exactly what did it, or if he just woke up on his own, but, well, the time has come, I guess. Mothman is currently pacing the 15,000 square foot warehouse we have housed it in, flying up into the rafters, peering into security cameras like he's trying to find a way out. When he does get out, God knows where he'll go, but I sincerely hope it's not anywhere near the main building. I know I've said that I don't believe he means any harm, but even then, if he gets anywhere close to the holding cells below, we're fucked with a capital F. See, I've shared stories of creatures I procured for this place, but those are tip of the iceberg. The conservation areas across the planet have maybe 70 different types of creatures roaming free, some of which none of you bastards back on Earth have ever even heard of. Some that would give you nightmares, make your entire view of reality as we know it shatter to pieces. That's not even getting into the cells that exist under the HQ, where we keep the worst of the worst under lock and key. These are the bastards like Bray that we had to lock up for being too bloodthirsty, ready to kill anyone that got too close to them at a moment's notice. Just paragons of wanton slaughter in the most primal way. If they get loose, it's not going to be pretty. The Dover demon, chupacabra, frogman, there's a goddamn Mongolian deathworm we have down there. And the moment one of those breaks containment due to a warp in reality is the moment that this place is officially screwed. I've been kicking around the teleportation room with Vin, one of our maintenance technicians, and Mako, a researcher who opted to stay behind with us instead of leaving with the others for the past few hours. We're trying to see what we can do to fix the portals, but the issue seems to be a power source. From what Mako tells me, these things ran on a special concentration of dark matter that's very hard to come by. And just our fucking luck, when Everest left, they took the last bits of what they had with them. Anything that wasn't taken got used up during the last jumps by those bastards that abandoned us, and we've got no way of creating or finding more with the few resources that we have laying around. Hell, we're lucky that some of the oxygen pillars that terraformed the area of Mars we're on are still working at this point. Otherwise, we all would have died off asphyxiation up here by now. Honestly, I feel like that would be the better option at this point. Better than being torn apart by the first cryptid to get out of containment at least. I don't even know why we're trying to get the teleporters online. Not like there's just any dark matter lying around to get them working with. Trust me, we've looked for it. The place is fresh out. I'm taking every precaution I can up here as the senior-most worker. The main building is on full lockdown. We've moved everyone into the gymnasium, and we're only letting people out for essential duties like maintenance. All the creatures down below are in lockdown as well, which means cells have extra bars and tungsten shutters over them to ensure they don't escape. I'm watching monitors now, keeping an eye out for any kind of strangeness so we can be at the ready the moment anything goes wrong. Who the hell am I kidding? Even if things do go wrong, what the hell are we going to do about it? God, I'm trying to tell myself that it's been a long life, and it's all been worth it, but for what? I might be killed up here by my life's work. And who's going to know about it? Only the fuckers who made it happen. That's who. I've never grappled with my mortality like this before. And I mean, I figured I would as I got up in age, but not like this. I wish I could go out and walk the trails back home one more time, right down the highway with the top down again, swim in a lake. What have I lived for? Just to die up here by the hands of those I was trying to rescue? It's almost worse that I know some of the creatures up here are damned right along with us. The night crawlers don't deserve this. Not that they're any wiser to what's happening. We could have just left them down there in Fresno. Not like they were harming anyone. Instead, we brought them all the way up here, gave them a room to be cooped up in, and damned them to be eaten by the first thing that gets out of containment. I swear to God, I'm more angry about the fate of creatures like them than I am about the humans stuck up here. It's going to be hell to pay if I ever get a hold of those fucks back at Avarice. There's movement on one of the monitors outside. I was lost in my thoughts, but that just brought me crashing back down to the surface here. It's not a creature I recognize either. It's maybe 30 feet outside of Mothman's enclosure. Just standing there. It's huge, big bright eyes shining in the darkness of the Martian night, a massive hood obscuring most of its head. It lifts a long spindly hand by its side, pointing first at the camera. No, at me. It's like it's telling me to watch. Then it raises another hand, pointing it towards the enclosure, and quickly pointing up, causing the outer wall to fly into the air, high into the Martian atmosphere. I rubbed my eyes, unsure if what I was seeing is real. There's no way something like this could just appear here, not without it coming from another one of the reserves around here. If it was, I would know what the hell it is though, and I've never seen this damn thing appear in my life. Before the dust settled, I saw him come flying out, hitting straight for the figure that had broken it out. As soon as it got close though, the damn thing just blooped right off the screen, out of existence, like it was never there in the first place. I kept watching, seeing it appear in a different spot now, a ways out from where Mothman landed. Moth just landed in the dirt, stood up and stared this son of a bitch down like they were old rivals or something. Hell, maybe they were. Maybe this thing is the reason Mothman was on our world. Picking up a radio, I called into the others back in the gymnasium. Paul answered, asking why I sounded so worried. Something just showed up. It ain't anything I've seen before, I said, unsure of what to say. Something you haven't seen? The fuck could that be? Paul asked, fear in his voice. I don't know. Come to the monitor room and take a look for yourself, I said. The creature hadn't moved on the monitor, still staring Mothman down over the red Martian sands. I couldn't tell if it was communicating with him somehow, or just standing there waiting for Mothman to make the first move. Minutes passed, neither of them doing anything. Then, the door busted open to the monitor room, Paul crashing in, followed by 5 others that had come along with him. They all gathered around the monitors, staring in awe as I tried to zoom the picture in for a closer look at the newcomer. Is it an alien? Gabrielle, one of our cooks, asked. Don't see how else it could have gotten here, I muttered, keeping an eye on it. As we watched, it began to rise from the ground, floating high above before blinking out of existence once more. The Mothman looked around, scanning the environment for its prey before turning around, deciding that it wasn't there and flying off. Was that the Flatwoods monster? Kyle, another maintenance tech, asked us. I think it was. Another voice chimed in. Flatwoods monster? I asked, unsure of what they were talking about. I thought I knew every cryptid that came along, but that one was eluding me. Yeah, it was this creature that appeared in West Virginia one time. Everyone thought it was an alien. Kyle replied. Holy shit, maybe that's why it showed up there. Maybe it's been looking for the Mothman this entire time. They look like they knew each other. I don't know, this is all too weird, even for me, I said, sitting back and taking my glasses off again, rubbing my eyes and letting out a loud groan of exasperation. Everyone started talking at once, various scared voices unsure of what in the world to do. Oh, that's not good, I heard one of them shout as they pointed to the monitor again, focusing in on one of the cameras down in the holding cells below. Our newfound visitor from the Flatwoods had somehow gotten inside now and was standing right in the middle of the holding area, studying the various cell doors as the creatures behind them lost their damn minds, unsure of what to think of their newcomer. You've gotta be kidding me. How the hell did that thing get down there? Are the doors breached? Paul shouted, looking to another of the nearby monitors and checking our security status. I pulled up another screen, looking at a diagram of the building. No breaches anywhere. Everything is on lockdown. Shutters are drawn. There's no way that thing could have gotten in here, I mused, watching as it began gliding down the rows of doors, examining the residents of each room it passed. Someone has to stop it. Another voice now, cracking with anxiety as we all watched the screen. The creature passed by the cell Bray was in, stopping for a moment and staring through the bars at the emaciated, wolf-like creature, studying it as if it was at a zoo. If it lets them out, we're absolutely fucked. Someone has to go down there. Yeah, and who's it gonna be? You volunteering? Karl asked, fear overtaking his voice now. We have no idea what that thing can do. It broke Moth out without lifting a damn finger. So what chance do we stand? I don't know, but we have to do something, Paul shouted, heading out of the room. I could see him on the monitors as he ran down the hall, towards the armory, struggling with the keys as his hands were shaking. The visitor was still roaming the hallways downstairs, though he was getting very, very close to the end of our containment area at this point. Wait, you guys see that? Vin asked, pushing my hand from the mouse and taking it for himself, moving it to another of the security cameras. This one, the same one where Flatwoods had initially showed up before attacking Mothman's holding area, was different now. Against the red sands of Mars, showing through the infrared cameras, was a massive dark spot right where the monster had been standing. It wasn't only a dark spot though. It looked as if it was moving, swirling in the sand itself, absorbing any kind of light that may come near. No fucking way. Mako elbowed his way forward out of the crowd, staring at the screen in amazement. Mind explaining to the class what we're looking at here? Karl asked, unsure of whether to be amazed or let his fear take over. Do we have anything that we can pick some up with? Vic turned to Mako, ignoring Karl's request for clarity. Should have some stuff down in the teleporter's room that can pick it up. Mako was practically giddy now, rushing back towards the door and running out, heading for the portal room that was one level below us. I looked over at Vin, searching for answers that I felt I already knew. Dark matter, he mentioned, switching the monitors back and taking down some coordinates. How far is the moth cage from here? About 4 miles, I said, starting to stand. You're not going by yourself. Of course not. Mako and I will go, he said back, turning the monitor again to check in on our visitor downstairs. The rest of you should hole up in the portal room until we get back. That way we can get the hell out of here immediately. No, I'll go with you, I said, walking towards the door as the Flatwoods monster came on screen once more. It was looking for something, but I'm not sure what. I snatched the radio off the table, hooking it onto my belt before pulling my keys out, shuffling through them. Let's go to the armory first and load up. What the hell are you gonna do out there? Vin shouted after me. I'm senior here, and I ain't letting the rest of you risk what you have left of your lives to get me back home. I'll go with you. Mako can get preparations done in the portal room, and everyone else can shelter there until we get back. I think there's still a functioning rover down in the garage we can use. I wasn't going to let them do this, not while I hid away in some room at least. I found the armory key, moving down the hallway and opening up a huge steel door. The walls were lined with weaponry, both tranquilizer and live ammo that could be used in the event of creatures breaking containment. Moving along, I found what I was after and grabbed 2 of the tactical bags off another wall. We had a small stack of ammo boxes for pistols, shotguns, and a couple of rifles that I divided between the bags. Moving onward to grab a few pistols off another shelf, putting them in the back on my right. I reached for the radio on my hip, putting in a call to Paul back in the monitor room to come meet me in here. After he confirmed, I started pulling rifles that were capable of live ammo down, checking each one and making sure everything was in order before stacking them on the first bag, doing the same with shotguns a moment later. Once Paul arrived, I picked up the bag and rifles by the straps, shoving them towards him. Distribute these. Make sure everyone who has firearms training has at least 1 weapon and plenty of ammo for it. I want you to take everyone else to the portal room, lock the doors, and don't open them until we get there with the dark matter, okay? You really think you're going to be able to make it through all this? I'm much younger and way faster than you. I can get what we need much faster. Paul was arguing with me. Please, you ain't much younger than me. Don't start with that shit. I shot back, looking for any other decent weapons I could use. We had a couple of flashbangs that might come in handy. But other than that, most of what was here was meant for neutralization, not killing. With everything I needed, I slung a rifle over my shoulder, grabbed my bag, and pushed past Paul out of the door. Now, stop arguing with me and get the others to safety. I entered the hallway as Mako was coming back, carrying a massive clear tube under one arm and a small device that looked like a handheld vacuum with a long tube in his other hand. He looked at me, carrying the rifles, and simply nodded. "So you're coming with me?" he asked. "Nope, you're staying back in the portal room to get everything ready. Vin and I are going to collect the dark matter. I want the portal ready to move bodies the moment I get back," I said. His face dropped a little, obviously upset that he wasn't going to be the one to run out and be a hero. "Look, you're the only one who knows how to work the system. I need you here, got it?" "Yeah, I got it. Look, let me show you how this thing works. You'll attach the tube to the case here, okay? Then, when you have it secured, and you're close to the dark matter, you just press this button, and it'll suck it right up. Now don't get the container too full, got it? Or else it could cause issues with the pressure. And then, well, then you have a bomb that makes a nuke look like a coughing baby." He was explaining everything quickly, pointing from one part to the other as I simply nodded along. "For the people, we need to just fill it about 3/4 full. That's enough to power on the portal for a good 20 minutes and get everyone out of here." 10-4, I replied, turning down the hallway and shouting for Vin now. He exited the monitor room, looking at me as his face was drained of color. "They're all out," he said, blank expression telling me just how bad things were. "Get going." I nodded to Mako, seeing him nearly freeze in fear right then and there. The rest of the crew started pouring out of the monitor room, clamoring that we were doomed, wondering if the doors to the containment level would be able to hold everyone for long. I only motioned for Vin to follow me, not saying a word as I gave him the dark matter container and started pulling bullets from the back at my shoulder, loading them into the rifle. After a few minutes of walking, we reached an elevator, stepping in and pressing the button marked Garage. The elevator hummed along as we rode down, Vin now slinging the collection unit around his back and asking for a gun. I handed him a pistol from the back, reaching back in for a box of ammo as the doors opened. A loud hiss greeted us, and I dropped the bullets on the floor, hefting the rifle slung around my shoulder and aiming quick. There's a small creature standing maybe 20 feet from the elevator doors, right in the middle of the garage, staring straight at us. Pale, mottled skin that looked as if it had been left to bloat in a lake for months before drying out, sagging off at every bend in the joints. Dark, beady eyes were sunken into the small head, sharp teeth almost bursting from the massive mouth that extended in a long snout. I had seen this guy on intake a few years ago when he was brought in from the Mexico border. The goat sucker, chupacabra. I let out a deep breath and fired a shot, nailing it right in the shoulder and sending it flying back a couple of feet. It let out a loud scream, baring every tooth in its head at me as it got back up, chagrin towards us while it continued with the high-pitched screech. I fired off another shot, catching it through the left eye this time and making it fall to the ground in a slump, twitching. "Come on, that ain't gonna keep it down for long," I said, stepping over the body and towards the rover parked on the far wall. We both climbed in a hurry, pressing the start button and hearing the electric engine purr to life immediately, just in time as the chupacabra began to rise from the concrete floor ahead of us. I searched around the visor above the windshield, trying to find the garage opener so we could get out, but seeing nothing. "Oh shit, here it comes!" Vin shouted, tossing the collection unit into the backseat as the chupacabra got up on all fours now, sniffing around as the bullet pushed its way out of the wound on its head. He turned, looking at us in the glaring headlights of the rover, and screeched again. Charging forward, I hit the pedal, lurching us forward and hitting it full force before turning the wheel, facing the thin metal shutters that were keeping us in the garage and flooring it. I couldn't tell if the screeches I heard were from the metal door breaking or the chupacabra being torn apart under our tire tread, but either way, we were suddenly out of the main building and in the dark night of Mars. If we weren't in a fight for our lives, the night might be beautiful, with millions of stars visible in the deep blue of the sky above, the thinner atmosphere allowing us to see even more beyond the surface of the planet. The light of the stars shined, dazzling on the rat sands ahead of us, and I turned towards the direction of the Mothman containment building before flooring the pedal again, going as fast as I could. Vin kept a watch out all around us, ensuring that the Flatwoods monster didn't show up anywhere out of our sight in order to get the drop on us. I don't think it necessarily cared that we were out there. In the distance, I swear I saw Mothman flying, but against the dark sky full of stars, it was hard to really tell. The drive only took a few minutes, but we made it to the building with little issue. Once we got there though, we had to turn on the infrared cameras on the outer hull of the rover to figure out where to go, as the dark matter wasn't visible in the low light outside. God knows if we didn't have the specialized equipment, we probably would have driven over the damn thing. And who knows what would have happened then. Thankfully, I knew the general area it was in from watching the monitors for years, and it only took a few minutes of searching to find it. When we did, both of us got out of the car, and I took the collection unit over to the pit. It was something to see up close. It looked almost like a sinkhole just opened in the middle of the Martian sands, full of dark tar that was moving over itself. Except, within the darkness, there were entire galaxies, small specks of light and stars that contained their own universes, right here in this little hole. Any light that got near seemed to be sucked in, and I swear it even got colder as we got closer to it. I hooked the tube to the collection unit, preparing to turn it on. Suddenly, something swooped down from the sky, knocking me off my feet, so I fell back in the cold sand. I scrambled backwards, joints aching as the ground slid beneath me, desperately trying not to fall towards the pit of dark matter. "The hell was that, Finn?" I asked, looking around. At first, I thought that Mothman may have come back and didn't want us getting this for some reason. Then I heard a loud screech fill the air above as something flew high into the sky. Looking up, I saw massive leathery wings attached to a tall, slender frame. A big head full of teeth, starlight glinting off of reptilian scales, told me exactly what I was in for here. The devil was back for revenge for all those years ago, at the worst possible time. "Shoot it!" I shouted at Vin, standing up and trying to sling my rifle around on my shoulder. The devil started to slow its ascent, beginning to turn as it readied itself for another swoop down at me. This time I knew it was going to go for the kill, and I don't think it had any intentions of playing with us. No, there was something I could see, even from this distance, burning in his red eyes. Pure hatred, malice, and the urge to kill after being kept captive for all these years. I fumbled with the gun, finally putting it up and leveling the scope right by my eye. Through the magnifier, I could see much more clearly, and the hatred was even more apparent. Drool fell from his pointed teeth as he began to fall towards us, wings pinned back for speed as he accelerated. I steadied the rifle, lining up my shot and praying for the best to whatever God would listen. One last showdown with the devil. His eyes were burning bright red as I pulled the trigger, aiming straight down its wide open throat. The bullet flew through, punching right through it and coming out the back of its neck, causing it to spiral and lose control of the dive. I fired again, catching it in the wing this time, further setting it off. It fell to the ground, a scream coming from the massive, toothy mouth as it fell directly into the pit of dark matter, disappearing under the black. Is it gone?" Vin asked, stepping forward and aiming his gun at the pit. I dared not even stick around to see. If anything could tear one of these bastards apart for good, this had to be it, right? I wasn't going to waste time, so I grabbed the collection unit, switching it on and aiming the suction pipe at the pit. Little by little, some of the dark matter began to collect in the tubes. I filled it to the point Mako specified before switching it off, setting it in the back seat of the rover and motioning for Vin to get in. I haven't driven a car like this since I was a teenager out on the open road. Fast, reckless, without a care of anything except for getting to my destination and getting the hell out of here. I kept my eyes focused on the flat desert before me, knowing that at any moment things could go even more south than they already had. I was fucking right too. The radio on my waist crackled, a scared voice coming in. "You guys there? Please tell me you're going to be back soon." I recognized Mako even over the static. "What's going on?" I sat back, still trying to go as fast as I could. "Well, we lost 3 on the way to the portal room. I swear when I got to the container, things were fine. But, well, we got ambushed by something on the way up. Came flying up behind us in the hallway. Gunshots didn't phase it. And before I knew it, Karl's hit was flying past the rest of us without a body attached. We ran, but it was faster. The slowest got picked off before we made it to the door and got it barricaded, he said. Shit, was all I could reply. Listen, Mako, make sure you have someone stationed at the doors and the vents, got it? I want them to fire at anything that might come through unless it's us. No hesitation. We're about halfway there. Got a tank full of this stuff ready to go as soon as we get in, okay? The HQ building loomed in the distance, and off to the left, I could see something flying through the air in the darkness. The Mothman, massive wings unfurled, landed deftly on the side of the building, hanging on the smooth surface of the side like a massive buck would. And through the night, I could see his glowing red eyes observing us from even this distance. It was almost hypnotizing, and like a moth, I found myself drawn to the light, hands on the steering wheel, veering ever so slightly off towards his direction instead of staying straight on the road. I could hear a humming in my mind, like static on an old radio, the beat of a familiar voice coming from deep underneath as it tried to break through. Run was the only word that cut through, and suddenly, before I could comprehend that it was coming from the creature up there, I felt weightless. Snapping back to reality, I heard Vin shouting and realized it's because we were in fact hovering in the air, pedal pressed to the floor but tires spinning over empty space. The Flatwoods monster was standing in front of us, maybe 20 meters ahead, eyes glowing a bright, fiery yellow like two miniature sunsets against its massive head. I couldn't make out any kind of facial expression, but if there was one sense I could get from this thing, it was pure hatred. It was holding us aloft with one hand slightly raised, using some sort of telekinetic powers, just like it used to open up Mothman's enclosure earlier in the night. As it held us aloft, I got the feeling that this might be the end. It looked like it was ready to kill us at the slightest convenience, and could absolutely do it with little effort if it so chose. I'm not going to let it happen so easy though. I opened the door, rolling out and grabbing the canister of dark matter with me. As I fell from the car a few feet in the air, I heard something pop and my arm felt like it was on fire suddenly. But I used my good hand to grab my pistol, firing at the monster as Vin did the same on the other side. It threw the car off to the side, at least 80 feet with barely a twitch of its fingers. Our bullets hung there in mid-air, floating right in front of him as if they had been caught by an invisible barrier. As I fired off another shot, it sent the bullets flying back, one grazing my cheek and drawing blood as another caught Vin in the shoulder, sending him flying to the ground from the force. It was about to make another move when a dark figure swooped down from behind, tackling it to the ground with a loud screech. As we watched in fear, Vin trying to stand while clutching his shoulder, the Mothman drove Flatwoods into the ground, continuing to fly as he kept dragging the bastard across the rocky terrain. I heard that static in my head again, an underlying shout telling me to run. We started moving as fast as we could, grabbing the canister of dark matter and booking it towards the HQ building. I was practically breathless minutes later. As we stepped in, the air conditioning blasting me, covered in sweat from the workout I had just gotten, and making me wish I was back out in the desert again already. The chupacabra was gone now, with only a puddle of blood with tire treads leading through it on the garage floor to show anything was ever over there. We ran to the elevator, hitting the button for the second floor and reloading our guns while we had a spare second. If Mako's message was anything to go by, we were in for a hell of a fight. Slinging the canister over my shoulder, I finally took a second to tend to my arm as well. I don't think it's broken, but it seems like my shoulder popped out of place. I pushed against the wall, bracing myself before throwing my weight against it, popping it back into socket. It hurt, but I could move it with full range again, and now it was time to get ready for a fight through this hallway. The portal room was 3 doors down from the elevator, just a quick hop right from the doors. We could make it. I know it. I had to take a deep breath, readying myself. The elevator opened, and a scream immediately filled the air, a mass of fur and sinew flying right by us as it jumped onto Vin. I stepped back for a moment, shooting the creature point blank 3 times with my rifle as Vin screamed, teeth ripping into him wherever they could find a hold. The prey-road beast was on top of him now, and it was hungry for flesh, eating for the first time in years. "Just go, go!" Vin shouted at me, raising a pistol to the thing's head as he tried to hold it off with his other hand, firing off shot after shot directly into its skull. After a moment, the thrashing stopped, and it slumped over, then pushing it off his body with a labored grunt. "I'll be there in a second. Just need to catch my breath." He slumped against the wall of the elevator, blood pouring from his neck all over the floor. Even if I got him to the portal room, he wouldn't make it through. "Son of a bitch," I said, turning to run through the elevator doors, locking eyes on the blue door ahead that I knew everyone was hiding behind. I started to shout, "Open up! I have it!" Shouting and clattering came from behind the door, tearing down the barricade they had made in order to keep whatever had been hunting them out. At the other end of the hall, something appeared around a corner, staring me down and beginning to run, trying to get to me before I could get in. I wasn't familiar with this one. A massive creature, covered in fur with long claws that almost looked like daggers extending from its hands. It had glowing red eyes and sharp teeth that couldn't stay in its mouth, causing drool to fly out as it picked up speed. I aimed as I ran, firing off shot after shot, which it dodged with seemingly no issue. Just as I reached the door, it aimed a slash at me, letting out a high-pitched, barking laugh, the features of its face contorting with glee as it made contact with my back. The door opened with barely a moment to spare, but I felt hot blood soak my shirt as they pulled me in, more shots firing off at the thing as I was dragged into the room and doors slammed behind us. Right before it closed, one of them pulled the pin on one of the flashbangs, throwing it out in the hallway. Even through the door, the pop hurt my ears. "Here, take it," I said, handing off the canister to Mako. I was lucky the damn thing didn't hit it. Keeping it intact the entire time was nothing short of a miracle, if we're being honest. Mako grabbed it from me, taking it over to a small compartment where he plugged it in like a gas canister before heading back over to a computer. A massive shockwave rocked the building, causing all of us to stumble on our feet. The screaming from outside suddenly stopped, the creature going quiet. Everyone stood there, pointing guns at the door in preparation for anything. "Mako, how long?" I shouted, wincing as I moved. Everything hurt, and I could feel my energy draining even as we were getting closer to our exit. 3 minutes, initializing portals," he responded, typing something on the computer and moving quickly between consoles. The door flew open, nothing standing there in front of it. I had a bad feeling, and the static was coming back into my head again. This time, much more fuzzy than before though. I motioned for some of the others to step back, pushing themselves into the wall on either side of the door as we waited. A shadow was suddenly cast in the bright fluorescence, moving closer to the door. Something big, moving slowly over the ground, steadily growing closer as it moved to confront us. Whatever it was taking its sweet time, drawing out the suspense and making us even more worried as it approached. Suddenly, the Flatwoods monster was there in the doorway, not even like it had moved there, but just blinked right over the threshold. Everyone opened fire, though it raised a hand and caught a few of the bullets. Another must have taken it by surprise, clipping it right on the temple and causing it to flinch, dropping the other bullets to the ground. "Mako, need to go faster," I shouted. A screech filled the air as it grew angry, raising another hand that caught one of our comrades, causing her to lift into the air before the creature closed its hand into a fist. She shook, hovering, and blood began to pour from her ears, eyes, mouth, nose. Everywhere there was an opening to flow out. Blood began to flood down, gathering in a pool on the floor. She let out a slight groan, eyes rolling back in her head before going limp. "Kill it!" Another shouted, charging at the thing with a utility knife in hand, going for the direct assault. It did the same to him, holding one hand in his direction. The monster barely flinched. The man, however, suddenly dropped to the ground, head twisted around 360 on his shoulders, one gruesome bone protruding from his neck. A shadow appeared in the doorway outside as the hunter finally found his prey. Mothman reached one massive arm in, grabbing the Flatwoods monster by the neck and throwing it behind him into the hallway out of our room. As soon as we saw him, he was gone, the doorway replaced by a solid wall. The fuck just happened? Paul asked, stammering as he lifted his gun towards the new blank wall before us. On the other side of it, we could hear loud bangs as if something was being thrown around, and a loud screech followed by deep, guttural rumblings as the creatures fought. "Everyone in!" Mako shouted. A bright blue light poured over the entire room as the portal opened, initializing and swirling for a moment before it stabilized. Mako was ushering everyone over, urging them to go through as fast as possible now. "Fuck it, ain't gotta tell me twice," Paul muttered, grabbing onto my shoulders and helping me over. I shook my head, motioning for the others to go first, holding my rifle up and keeping it level at my shoulder. "Everyone else first, I'll go last," I said. Nobody seemed to have much of an argument, and quickly, everyone began to step through one by one. Mako and I were the only ones left for a moment as he turned to me. "Think we're making a mistake?" "I don't care if we are. I'm too old for this shit," I said, pushing him through the doorway before stepping through myself. Just before I backed in, I saw the wall burst open, a body flying through it as something hit it with extreme force. Whether it was Flatwoods or Mothman, I have no idea. But it was the rat planet's problem alone now. Cool air and bright lights hit me as I stepped through the other side. Dozens of flashlights and gun barrels were aimed at us, with someone shouting, asking where the hell we came from. "Where you fucking left us," I said, raising my gun, ready to fight back against the bastards. After a moment, they lowered theirs, and I did the same with mine. They're taking us somewhere else now, supposedly for a debriefing. I'm not sure what might come after, or what's going to happen to all of those creatures we left back on Mars. I doubt any kind of mass human colonization can go on up there now. And honestly, that's probably a good thing. The planet itself is a lost cause, no matter who wins the fight up there. What's next? I don't know. But at least, I know one thing. I get to die on Earth.